back to my no-name channel, and I'm Bruce, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for March 28th, 2021. And I'm going to do this in two sections, like last week. Section tonight and a section tomorrow morning. And it's just so much stuff to cover. So first let's do the numbers like usual. Okay, so I'm in a different place this time. This is the end of what I'm recording, but the start of the video. So numbers, 145 new cases, 39,202 total positive cases, 36,423 recoveries, 1,111 deaths. It wasn't that long ago we were at 1,000 deaths. And 1,668 active cases, so the active cases have gone back up. And so we have 124 locals, 20 domestic travelers, and 1 international traveler. Numbers by Regency: Badung 30, Denpasar 46, Wulang 24, Tabanan 15, Hungkung 6, Gianyar 7, Bangli 4, Jembrana 4, and Karangasem 8. And so the numbers are, well, they're not really going way up or way down. You see there was a spike. If you take a look at this chart, you'll see that there was a spike and then it started to go back down again. So, yeah, it's not bad, it's not good. We're still there, we still got cases, and so they're talking about, they being Sandiaga Uno, mostly. Well, he's leading the group, I guess, that's expected as Minister of Tourism. Talking about June or July, so June is only 2 months away, really. This is March 28th, so we got April and May. Vaccines are here, and I'm talking about that in just a minute, and there's more coming. Vaccinations happening. There's going to be more vaccinations in Wulang. I heard 700 sometime this coming week. And so that's going on. We're going to reach 2 million or 3 million, depending on who you listen to, by June. I don't know, maybe. There's a big push. So, I've added some links to things I didn't talk about in this video. I have not covered the changes in the visa, which I said I was going to do this week, but I haven't seen any new updates, and so nothing seems to me to be real solid, and when I have more time I will. And I didn't talk about the beach controversy that's been going on this week, and I'll try to get that in next week, because that's an important point, especially for people that are moving here. So let's talk about vaccines and vaccinations next. And first, good news, more vaccines arrive in Bali, and that was yesterday. This Friday, Bali received another shipment of vaccines. 800 vials arrived from Jakarta with a police escort. The vaccines will be distributed by the Bali Provincial Health Office, and according to the governor, Bali has received 700,000 doses so far. This will vaccinate 350,000 people, two shots per person. Now you'll notice in the next thing I'm going to talk about, next article, there's a different number, but the governor says we've received 700,000, so we'll go with the governor. So according to the governor, in order to achieve herd immunity, at least 70% of the population needs to be vaccinated, and so that's 3 million. Now I've said that before, but you remember that last video, Sandiaga Uno said we're going to vaccinate 2 million people. So Yeah, it's not, and he's still talking about 2 million people. And so, where's this other million people if we're going to get to 70% to get herd immunity? I don't know. So, the governor and I are using the same figures. According to the governor, that means that still we need a total of 6 million doses, 2 for each person, 3 million people. And he said we need to speed up the vaccination, mass vaccinations, in order to get Bali ready to go by June, July, or August. Okay, so good news, we're getting the vaccines, but we could use more quickly. Okay, next one, and this is Luhut, and I've mentioned him before many times. He's the Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, and he's targeting Bali to receive 1.5 million doses of AstraZeneca by April. And so, well, that's just around the corner. And so 1.5 million doses of AstraZeneca. Now, AstraZeneca is supposed to be used in the green zones, right? It's called Coronavac, right? The vaccine from China is supposed to be used for everybody else. So he said Bali has already received 500,000 doses. So maybe he means 500,000 doses of AstraZeneca. The governor said 700,000, so I don't know, 500,000, 700,000. And according to the Central Statistics Agency, the BPS, the number of foreign tourists in January 2021 was 141,000. Where are we getting 141,000 tourists? They must be counting foreigners and calling them tourists. I'm guessing those are people who were coming in on a variety of different visas, like maybe the B211. And anyway, so there was 141,000 compared with last January when there was 1.2 million. So he mentioned this to show the huge difference and therefore the crisis, the economic crisis, which I've talked about before and we all know about. Because of this, the role of domestic tourism is important to the recovery of the tourist sector, he said. And so he said we need to vaccinate quick. Okay, so everybody agrees on this. It's just getting the vaccine here and then distributing it. And so that's where we are with that. Okay, so good news. Vaccines are rolling in and vaccinations are going on. Everybody's getting vaccinated. Well, phase 2 people getting vaccinated, tourist workers. So good news there. And then last vaccination story is dozens of foreigners vaccinated in Sanur. So I was talking about foreigners and getting vaccinated, and on some of the Facebook groups, people asking, where do I get vaccinated? How can I get vaccinated? I want to get vaccinated. According to this article, as many as 30 foreigners have been vaccinated in Sanur, which is green area, right? Green zone. According to Imade Sudana, head of the Sanur Kaja village, he said these foreigners have been vaccinated and are staying here because they have KITAS and BPJS, which is Indonesian health insurance, which means they are already working, registered, and have health facilities, as well as being entitled to a vaccine guarantee. There are also those who have an ID card, and if they do, they can get vaccinated because they are residents here. He said there's about 10,000 people targeted to get vaccinated in the Sanur area, and so in another article that I talked about, I talk about later actually. I'm filming this in sections, so I talk about later. The number seemed really low to me that I mentioned. So he says there's 10,000 in the Sanur area, and eligible people to get the vaccine in Sanur have to have a Sanur KTP, a resident card, and have to be over 18 and have a self-reporting certificate. And so foreigners are being vaccinated, and he noted that, where is the rest of my thing? He noted the vaccinated foreigners are mostly from Australia and Sweden and include lecturers at international school and a general manager in the tourism sector. Also, Indonesian tourism workers are getting priority vaccines because they're going to be in the front line, so to speak, when the tourist hordes arrive here. And the vaccination is targeted to be completed within 1 week using the AstraZeneca vaccine. And 20,000 vials of AstraZeneca are being distributed to 3 green zones: Nusa Dua 8,960, Ubud 4,300, and Sanur 6,740. And so I mentioned those numbers, but the numbers really are meaningless because you see different numbers from different places. The key thing is, are people being vaccinated? Yes, they are. Are we going to get 2 million or 3 million people vaccinated by June, July, August? I don't know. That's going to be the big question. Okay, and so now let's go on to my previously recorded discussion of opening up and what that means and what's going to happen there. Okay, so that's the numbers and the situation with vaccines and vaccinations, and well, what's everybody interested in? When's Bali going to open? How's it going to open? What's going to happen? So let's get on with that. And first, Bali has a 3-phase plan to reopen borders for tourism by August. So generally accepted now, June, July, or August, depending on who you listen to. And does it make any difference if it's July or August or June? Well, if I was going to guess, I'd say later the better, so that they get to finish their planning. But, well, we'll see. So, what's this 3-phase plan? So, Bali government officials plan on opening Bali to international tourism by August with a 3-phase program. Phase 1, mass distribution of vaccines. Phase 2, preparation, testing, and tracing applications. And Phase 3, arranging quarantine accommodations. And I'll go over all these in detail now. The head of Bali Health Agency, Dr. Katuta Swarjaya, said that in April 21, testing application trials will be carried out, hotel preparation with quarantine or isolation, tour packages, and clean health and safety, CHSE certification of more than 80% of the businesses. And so that's in Phase 1. Phase 2, the second phase, will begin in May, and this is a pilot implementation of the green zones, the 3 green zones, which are Nusa Dua, Sanur, and Ubud. And they'll be piloting the implementation protocols for tourism workers who are entering and leaving the green zone area. Right? Not everybody lives in these places at the green zones. The people that work there, they're going to be coming in and out. And so how is that going to work? So they're going to be piloting protocols for that, and that includes for domestic tourists, right? The domestic tourists are still here, and so that's all going to be part of Phase 2. And Phase 3 will begin in June, reopening to international tourists after observing the simulations and protocol implementations, and making sure that the plans are safe and feasible. And after the third phase, then in August, the green zones of Ubud, Nusa Dua, and Sanur will be opened for international tourists. And there's also going to be, I guess, an international meeting with the WHO. Okay, and vaccinations are underway for local communities, and I talked about that already, and tourism workers. And those areas have a total employment population of 17,487 people. The first dose should be done by the end of March. Second dose will be completed in May. And Dr. Suarjaya said, in early July, it's hoped that the group immunity among residents in the 3 zones will have been formed optimally so that the area can be opened. Okay, so according to this plan, it's August, right? This 3 phases is going to end up in August. There'll be a pilot opening in July, and of course things are changing, right? This is really fluid, very flexible right now. But the talk about April 2022 has kind of disappeared. Well, it has disappeared. I haven't seen anything about it lately. And everybody is talking about June, July, and August. Okay. Now, so let's say that we open up in June, July, or August. So what is it going to look like when it opens up? Well, according to this article, Bali will still require all vaccinated travelers to be tested. So even if you're vaccinated, you're going to have to have proof of a negative COVID-19 test. And Bali officials have confirmed that for domestic travelers. Right, we've been open for domestic travelers for a long time now. And so even if they've been tested, for example, in Jakarta, they're going to have to prove that they are negative. And this is also going to apply to international travelers once the island is opened up. And Dr. Ketut Swarjaya, again, said that this is because, he said, even though you've been vaccinated, doesn't mean that you're not carrying the virus. And so he said if people who have been vaccinated are exposed to COVID-19, the transmission is likely to be 3 times less. So, you're not as you're not as likely to infect somebody, but you still could. Now, there's a lot of information coming out about this too. Which vaccine does what? So there's just everything is happening quickly. And he said, continued. If the virus does enter you, if you do get infected but you've been vaccinated, it's usually less likely to be symptomatic and lighter than people who are not vaccinated. So the plan right now is that even if you're vaccinated, you're going to have to be tested. Okay, so that's one thing to prepare for. Now, that's subject to change, right? Because there's all sorts of stuff going on, as I said. AstraZeneca, for one thing, what's happening with that. Next, Bali tourism official will launch location tracing app for tourists. Okay, and so our old friend here, the Minister of Tourism, Pak Sandiaga Uno, announced this past week that he is going to launch a tracing app called Telusur, and it's going to supervise the movements of tourists around the island. As one of the efforts by the government to increase the quality of tourism in Bali and create a safer tourist environment, Pak Sandiaga will launch the application before the COVID-19 free international corridor is implemented. And Pak Sandiaga said, This app will help us to monitor the implementation of prevention protocols when the borders reopen. He continued that the app could increase the levels of tourist compliance with the protocols during this visit. So, this is a good question, right? Are the tourists going to follow the protocols when they get in here? Because, hey, not everybody is now. So, what's to say they're going to when we get mass amounts of people in? You're going to have this app, and you're going to have to register it. And right now, that is the plan. Now, some people have already said, "What is this? I don't want to have the government know what I'm doing." Well, at this point, you're not going to have an option. Sandiaga said that the app has many functions like monitoring the occupancy of tourist destinations like hotels and restaurants, and providing recommendations of some tourist attractions that are less occupied than others to avoid creating a crowd. And so you can tell on your app, let's say you want to go to some tourist destination, and you check on your app and it says that there's a lot of people there, so you can go, okay, well, I'm not going to go there now. I guess that's how that's going to work. Sandiaga continued, this app will give us information about the location and information how many people are in restaurants and cafes. It will also give us a warning if occupancy reaches its maximum capacity. I'm not exactly sure, well, I'm not sure at all how this is going to work. I hear what they're saying, I read what they're saying, but how it's actually going to work is not clear, because right now the app is in the alpha stage. Beta testing will happen next month, I guess, and it's supposed to go live in May before tourists are expected in June or July. Remember, this is Sandiaga Uno who's pushing the June-July opening. He plans on collaborating with other stakeholders such as the Health Ministry, the Communication and Information Ministry, and Bali's provincial government to integrate this app with the institutions. And as tourists will be required to register with the app upon arrival, this will allow the government to monitor the movements of tourists and also allow them to visit green zones. So once you've got this app, then I guess I'm thinking about, okay, so you get here, you download the app beforehand at the Play Store or wherever. You show up, you show somebody all your documents, that includes your phone with the app on it, and then you're free to go, and you can go to one of the green zones. This is what I'm thinking about right now, reading all this. So there's going to be an app, and you're going to be traced. There are apps in China that do this, there's apps in Korea that do this. This looks like the way that a lot of places are going to go to keep track of who goes where. So let's we're getting an idea now of what's happening. Now, these are all ideal situations, right? And we're just at the end of March, and so we got April, May, and June. So we got 3 months for this. The earliest date, right, is June. So the government's going to take care of this. They're going to make sure when these tourists come in that they just go to the green zones, and that the workers, there's going to be some kind of protocols about how workers come in and out. But Sandiaga's in the news again, of course. He's in the news all the time. And this article, tourism minister says some businesses intentionally violating prevention protocols. Okay, Sandiaga relayed information this week that he's received a report from the head of the National COVID-19 Handling Task Force, Doni Monardo, that he should pay more attention to the implementation of prevention protocols, especially in the accommodation business on the island. And Sandiaga said that Monardo told him that there's a cafe in Bali, or cafes in Bali. If you read the English language version, it says cafe. If you read the Indonesian language version, it says cafes. That is not implementing all the protocols during the operation. And he continued that the cafe, the restaurant, the club, whatever it is, he didn't name it, that he was informed about, put stickers on each person's cell phone camera when they come in order for them not to be able to share the situation on social media of what's going on. And he said, in that case, people were not wearing masks and not physically distancing, and this included both the guests and the staff. And he, quote, "I have been keeping that information to myself before I finally published today to the media because I don't want to create an uproar, especially during our preparation stage of reopening the international travel bubble in June or July." So, is this really news? New news? Because all you have to do is look on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you can see places open, people wandering around without masks on, no social distancing. It's simple to find out. I don't know why this is such a big secret. Follow any of the foreigners that are here that do daily wanderings around the island. I like this one, Mr. and Mrs. Monkey. You'll see them when they're at the beach or at some of the restaurants. A lot of people violating the protocol, so it's not news. I'm not sure why this is seems like this is such a surprise to Sandiaga. He admitted that he's already warned a number of business owners, especially expats, of course, here we go, especially expats again, to comply with the rules, and the business that don't will be fined 1 million rupees, and if it is foreigners that are involved, second one is out, deportation. Okay, so we're back to that two-phase for foreigners. One is a 1 million rupiah fine. The second one is deportation. He mentioned that he expects the Balinese, 2 million people in Bali, 2 million residents of Bali, to be vaccinated by June or July. That's really not 70%, but that's the number he's shooting for, and I talked about that in the last video. And he concluded on an up note that he's optimistic that every foreign national on the island will respect all the rules. Okay, well, not all the foreign nationals are respecting all the rules. The locals are not all respecting all the rules either. So, how is that going to work out? I don't know. The idea here is that Bali is going through all of these preparations, all of these plans, so that they can guarantee foreigners that come here that things are safe, they're not going to get the virus. A lot of people don't really seem to care because we still have people sick here. The virus is still here, it hasn't been gotten rid of. Everybody is not vaccinated, but people are still trying to get in desperately. You look on Facebook and they're, how can I get in? How can I get in? Yeah, I don't know. So that's that's that. It looks like at this point we can say that they're going to be open in June, July, or August. There could be an app that everybody is going to have that is going to be able to trace you somehow. I'm not sure how that would work either. What happens if you've got the app on, for example, and you come to Bulaling, to Lovina, or Pumutran, which is not officially listed as a green zone, let's say at that point. Do they come and get you? Does somebody call you on the phone and tell you, hey, where are you going? How is that going to work? How are they going to keep people from going out of the green zones? I'm assuming that they're working on this. This is part of their plan. How do you go from, let's say you're staying in Sanur and you want to go to Ubud? How do you do that? You just get in the car. Do you have to get in a car with somebody? Can you take a motorbike? Can you take your own car? A lot of questions still about what this is gonna be like when it actually opens. Right now, we're still in this micro restriction stage, which not everybody is of course following. But everybody is free to travel everywhere here right now. All the foreigners that are here, everybody, all the Indonesians, the Balinese, other Indonesians, everybody is free to travel here. Is that going to change when the tourists show up? And are the tourists going to have to wear a mask everywhere they go? Okay, at this point, I guess so. Okay, and so let's wrap this up with news about Idul Fitri. Idul Fitri, Mudik, has been canceled, banned. So the central government has decided to ban the public from leaving urban areas for their hometowns during the Idul Fitri holiday in May in order to reduce the risk of Covid-19 transmission. Now this happened last year, it's happening again. Pak Muhajir Effendi, Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Culture, said the ban will be imposed from May 6th to May 17th. My daughter is supposed to be coming home from Jakarta then. I hope she's going to be able to get back. And so this is Mudik, and Mudik is the annual migration from Jakarta and other big cities back home to villages or whatever cities you come from, smaller cities, at the end of Ramadan. And Idul Fitri this year will be May 13th or 14th. I have a lot of mosquito bites today. It will be May 13th or 14th, depending on which Islamic organization you listen to. Two of them pick different dates every year. And Indonesia's biggest Islamic organization, NU, said it issued a fatwa this week urging Muslims to pray at home rather than congregating in mosque. And good luck with that. Don't know that that's going to happen. So if the Mudik is canceled, that means that there are going to be less people coming to Bali during that Idul Fitri holiday, supposedly. Now, how this is going to work, I don't know. Last year, there were police out there blocking roads, and you weren't supposed to be able to take planes, buses, trains, boats. I'm not sure how they're going to work this, but they've already made this announcement, right? So, May 6th to May 17th. So some people are going to try to get there before then, like they did last year, when the government says, okay, we're going to ban people from leaving on, let's say, for example, on the 1st, everybody tries to leave the 28th. Try to get some extra time off work so you can go. So we'll see how that works out. But so Ramadan is coming up soon, in a few weeks, and so fasting will be going on. Okay, so now we've got this, we can see what things are starting to look like. A picture is starting to develop of a window into what's going to happen when we open up. But this is all dependent on people doing what they're supposed to. So, like Sandiaga Uno said, he said, okay, so there's some places that are intentionally violating the health protocols, but then he ended up, well, I'm sure everybody's going to do what they're supposed to. And then there are a bunch of articles, as usual, about foreigners who have been busted. And I'm not going to go over every one of them. There's links down below to some of them. So people are still, and it's not just foreigners, like I said before, but the foreigners get the press. Because, there's less of us than there are of Indonesians. And, well, we're good targets. So, there's still foreigners not behaving, not following protocols. They've been busted, but the big numbers, nobody seems to be going after. Some of the places that they can find in Luhut, where you've got hundreds of people, have seemingly disappeared from the view of the authorities. And there have been a few deportations down here, people working illegally in Bali, and so they've been deported, and so that's happening now. That's not for violations of health protocols, that's for working illegally. Okay, that's it. So, thanks for viewing. If you're on Bali, follow the protocols and be a positive instead of a negative. Wear a mask, social distance. Help us get the island back going again. Don't think only about yourself. There are a lot of people that need the work. And stay safe, be kind to someone, and see you next time.